We'll think about a way to find Jeremy. And the people he worked with at Tempo magazine. We'll call them. And he must have friends. We can find them, I'm sure.
Oh, Mother, you are wonderful. Oh, I love you.
I did not deliberately listen in. I told you I picked up the telephone to call your father's office.
Yes, and was so fascinated you couldn't hang up.
It wasn't me, Jeremy. It was your father.
What?
You can't blame us for being interested and curious about what it is you've been doing ever since you left Canada.
Now you know. Feel better?
It was quite a shock, Jeremy, to hear you'd been fighting as a mercenary. Certainly not something I would have thought you chose for yourself.
You never knew me very well, Natalie.
Yes, I did. It hurts me to think that I might have been responsible for your going off in such a dangerous direction.
You? What makes you think that you're responsible?
I know you were upset when I married your father, Jeremy. Perhaps if I hadn't, none of this would have happened.
Forget the guilt, Natalie. Fighting was probably my destiny. After all, I fought with my father over practically everything since I was old enough to talk.
And I didn't help matters, did I?
Natalie, if you think that I became a mercenary because you dumped me and married my father, you're wrong. I enjoyed it, and the money was damn good.
The Jeremy Hunter I knew would have never done anything for money. He was a very gentle, caring person.
As I said, you never knew me very well.
Oh, stop it. A person doesn't just wake up one morning and decide to go off and do something like that. You either have to love fighting or have no regard for human life, yours or anyone else's. Why did you do it?
Destiny, as I said.
I'm convinced it's because you couldn't have me.
Oh, Natalie, you've always attached too much importance to yourself. The truth is you never even entered the picture when I made up my mind.
Well, I don't believe that. And if I'd known at the time...
Cut it off, will you? There's no reason to talk about it. It's something that happened a long time ago. It's over, and there's no reason to discuss it now.
You're right.
Don't worry, he is safe and sound.
Oh, you can't imagine what a relief that is to me.
Oh, I think I can.
Larry, when you spoke to him, did he say anything about me?
Erica, please. Look, you just can't ask me that. He's a friend of mine. I can't tell you what we talked about.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Look, it has been really great to talk to you. I gotta go.
All right, goodbye. Thank you.
Sure. Bye.
Well, then I guess you heard he's in Canada.
Well, now that you know where he is, honey, why don't you call him?
Oh, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do.
But I thought you were so desperate to talk to him.
Well, of course I am. But if I call him, then I give him another chance to run away from me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to take that risk.
Erica, I don't think you have any choice. You just came rushing back from that trek to Tibet. You certainly can't go dashing off to Canada now.
Who says I can't?
Oh, Erica, I can't stand it when you act like this.
What are you talking about? I can't help it, Mother. I'm in love with Jeremy. And I know he's in love with me, and I'm certainly not just going to let it go. I mean, I'm going to give this a fight. I'm definitely going to go there. I'm going to make him confront me face to face.
Oh, Grasshopper. Did you get those prints to the bulletin like I asked?
I sure did. They're in this morning's paper.
Good girl. All right.
Greg? Oh, Greg. Oh, thank heaven you're home. Oh, darling. Oh, you're safe at home. I've heard all about that terrible Barton person and his harlot, and I've just been so awfully worried, Greg.
I'm okay. I'm sorry you're so upset.
Well, of course I was upset, darling. You could have been killed.
Well, I wasn't. So relax. Now, like I told you before, I'm still moving out.
What?
This afternoon. Everything.
Dad? I just spoke to Dean Potter. He said he'd be delighted to see you anytime this afternoon to talk about late registration. And your father and I have made arrangements about your tuition fees, so you're all set.
It's very nice, Mom. Thanks a lot.
Well, listen, we are so happy to have you home that we want to do whatever we can.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly the way I hoped I'd come home.
Darling, look, I know how you feel about what's happened with Hillary, but life goes on, you know. You can't just bow out.
I'm not bowing out. Far from it. I've just got a lot of stuff to work out, that's all. Somehow I have to see her.
Yeah, now wait a minute. You can't do that. I mean, Phoebe has made it very clear that she'll have you arrested if you set foot on that property.
Phoebe's paranoia has never stopped me before, and it's certainly not going to stop me now.
Now, Tad, look, after everything that you've been through, darling...
Good afternoon, Mrs. Valentine. Is Mrs. Wallingford in?
She's in the library. Won't you come in, please?
Thank you.
Mrs. Wallingford, Mrs. Nelson.
Yes. Enid, dear, I was just about to call you. I want you to be the chairperson.
You can just forget about that.
I beg your pardon?
I am not here to discuss club matters. I am here to talk about my son, Gregory, who has just moved out of my home thanks to you.
Well, I don't see what that has to do with me.
You coerced me into helping you to deceive Hillary, which I did in all good faith, and then you stabbed me in the back by telling Greg that I knew all about it, that I knew that you had kept her from getting his telephone message. You promised me that you wouldn't tell her.
Well, what about you, dear Enid, telling Langley that the disc was in my safe deposit box? No one would have gone to New York at all if you'd kept your big mouth shut.
Well, really, I had no way of knowing that he didn't know where the disc was. Besides, he wormed it out of me with his carnival trickery.
Don't you dare insult my husband.
Really, Phoebe, the whole town knows that he's a con artist, doesn't even use his real name.
His name has been legalized, and don't you ever...
Well, that doesn't legalize his tawdry past. Phoebe, darling, I think you have a positive propensity for attracting disreputable characters.
Well, if you're speaking of yourself, you're
I
right.
am not speaking of myself. I am speaking of your husband and your daughter's taste in men. I think it would serve you right if your precious Hillary wound up married to that despicable Tad Martin. Good day, Phoebe.
The whole world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Jeremy, your secrecy gave me no choice.
It wasn't secrecy, it was privacy to which I have a right.
And I have a right to know what you're up to while you're under my roof.
I'm still here at your invitation.
I was curious. You disappeared so abruptly after your stepmother and I were married, and then not a word for 10 years. You are my son.
Meaning?
Meaning? That it obviously has no meaning to you, or else you would have told me about this mercenary business yourself.
It's not something I'm very proud of, Father.
Why not? It takes courage, initiative.
It was a blind and cruel way of life.
It was a man's life, which you certainly can't say about painting.
Father, I'm glad you're well. And I know I said I'd stay on for a couple of days, but under the circumstances.
Does your cowardice extend to conversation as well?
Simon was right. You refuse to change. If you'll excuse me, I have to back.
Jeremy, just half an hour and you are never going to leave me again.
Come to frighten everyone. Now, you promised me you'd be sweet and gentle.
Stop that. I'm not a lapdog.
No, you are much too ferocious. But you are just as persistent. Poking your little nose into corners, ferreting out secrets, even when you know your son's going to throw a fit.
There's no reason for him to have secrets. I'm his father.
Oh, sweetheart, that's precisely why. He's ashamed of his past.
He didn't want to disappoint you.
I wasn't disappointed. I respect what he did. Put his life on the line every day.
Then respect him.
How can I now? He doesn't respect himself.
Darling, Jeremy is Jeremy. He'll never be the man you are. But he is your son. We know now he takes great risks. Now think, what if something happened to him and the two of you had never talked and never made peace?
He wouldn't care. He hates me. Yeah. All right, I'll apologize.
Let me talk to him first. He's not as wise as his father. The ground may need a little preparation.
Well, you'll have to hit him over the head with a shovel even to get him to listen to you. Summers! Sorry to keep you waiting. Would you like some refreshments, a drink perhaps?
No, thank you. Well, I'm certainly glad to see that you're looking very well. I had heard that you'd been ill.
A temporary setback. One that I would gladly endure again if it brought you to my door. I've admired you from afar too long.
Well, I can certainly see where Jeremy gets his charm. I don't mean to be abrupt, Mr. Hunter, but...
Alex.
Alex? May I speak with Jeremy?
I wish you could. I'm afraid my son is no longer here.
What? What do you mean?
We had a misunderstanding, a small misunderstanding. Probably all my fault.
Did he say where he was going?
Not a word.
Did he ever mention me?
Let me see. I asked him about the news reports, something about rescuing you from an island.
Yes, he did.
I also asked him about any connection between you, and he said that he'd done some painting for you. You edit that magazine, Tempo.
Yes, I do. May I have a glass of water after all?
Yes, of course.
I've been all over the world looking for your son.
I thought that there was more of a connection than he let on.
Yes, so did I. Forgive me.
Here you are. Miss Kane, my son's a bigger fool than I thought. Accepting my hospitality. You see, Jeremy is my only child, and I'm afraid I failed him miserably. Now, what with my illness, I'm acutely aware of how few chances I have left. Try as I might, I haven't been able to reach him. While he was here, I tried to get him to talk with me, to tell me about his past life, but he would have none of it.
Jeremy can be very mysterious.
Then you'll help me? You'll tell me about my son. Help me to know him.
Yes, Alex, of course I will help you, yes. Thank you.
Oh, that'll be Natalie. Now, she's very knowledgeable about fashion and travel, and it would be a great treat for her to have someone of your stature.